a small dollop of oil. It's gonna help lubricate the rings, give us a good seal.
Let's get wrenching.
It's Justin here, and welcome back to our 305 Revival here at Summit Racing. Today, we're gonna be covering all sorts of cool stuff, like a compression check, a leak down test. Now, for you guys that didn't see part one, we just went and did a general health check on this thing, looked for definite signs of abuse or anything like that, and gave you guys some tips and tricks on what you need to do when looking for a junkyard engine. Now, if you don't subscribe to the Summit Racing YouTube channel, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when we post engine content, tool reviews, interviews, and so much more. We always have something fun going on. So let's grab our compression tester and jump right into this. So we're ready to jump into a little bit of compression checking and leak down testing on our 305 here. Now, what we're gonna do is I've gone ahead and hung a starter on this thing, made a set of cables, and also grabbed an Innova starter switch. These are great for a couple things, adjusting valves, diagnosing some stuff, electrical wise in your starter system, and they works perfect for what we're gonna do. So I hung a starter on it, hooked it up to a battery. I went ahead and yanked all the plugs out of it to help it crank over with some speed. Now, I do not recommend, and you should never start an actual engine on one of these T-stands, but for what we're doing and just compression checking it, it is perfect for this. If you're going to start one of these, I highly recommend picking up a Summit Racing engine run stand for that. We have an OTC compression checker here, and what we're going to do is I grabbed a notebook, I wrote 1 through 8 on it, and I'm going to go and just work my way back and forth and check compression in every hole. Now, it is important if you're doing this with an engine with a throttle body or a carburetor on it, while you're compression checking it, you need to hold the throttle all the way open. I do have a manifold on ours that I loosely bolted down simply to hold the distributor in place. I did put a couple more quarts of just really cheap oil in it. So as I'm cranking this thing, it doesn't crank it dry. I did go ahead and prime it and got oil up to everything. And that's the other thing is you want to put a distributor in something like this that you're doing that, or a distributor drive tool, because without that you have an oil leak actually inside the engine. The distributor has an area where oil runs by it, and it's actually sealed by some O-rings. So without the distributor in there, you're not really going to get oil up to the passenger side valve train. As we're doing this, I am just going to take a small dollop of oil, 1 squirt in the hole, going to help lubricate the rings, give us a good seal. Yeah, the OTC compression checker comes with a bunch of different adapter hoses and fittings. So we compression checked number 1, and you can see on the gauge we're just over 170 pounds, so probably 172. And the cool part about this is there's actually a Schrader valve in the tube here, and so that allows the number not to go down. But I'm going to write down 172 pounds on our piece of paper, and then we're going to go ahead and check 3, 5, and 7. So to remove this, I'm just going to release the pressure and thread the hose out. And number 5 is just about 130 pounds, so 40 pounds lower than the first two, which tells us there could be something wrong with the number 5 hole. It's got bad rings, it's got a valve seating issue. We're definitely going to note that and investigate that further with our leak down test and go from there. So the results are in from our compression test, and I have some promising results to share with you guys. So we have a range of 180 PSI all the way down to about 130. And the general rule of thumb is over 100 PSI per hole and you're in good shape, or 70% of your highest reading. So 70% of 180 is 126. So all of our holes are above that, so that's a good thing. Now, if you got some lackluster results with your compression test, a couple of the things you can do is a dry versus wet test. So you go ahead and test the engine dry and see what all your readings are, and then you go ahead and add some oil to each hole. And if your number goes up drastically, that's a sign that the rings are worn out And if the number doesn't really improve from there, then you have a valve or a head gasket sealing issue. And a way to really investigate that is a leak down test. And that's what we're going to show you guys how to do next. So you can really learn a lot about an engine by just having a couple good diagnostic tools, and kind of listening to it is really what it is. More than likely this thing is super healthy, but we're still going to pop it apart and check it out anyway. So now it's time to do some leak down test. And if you guys aren't familiar with a leak down test, basically what it is we're feeding compressed regulated air into a cylinder set at top dead center, and we're seeing what the pressure difference is, or the pressure loss is, between the two gauges. So now I have the compressor regulated at 75 pounds, so I'm going to run this regulator up to 75 pounds and look what the difference is between the two. Now what we're really looking for is a variance between cylinders. You know, a good rule of thumb is a 5% variance between all 8 cylinders means it's good and healthy. A 10 to 15% variance between cylinders means we need to investigate further. But to prep for this, you need to roll whatever cylinder you're testing to top dead center where the valves are rocking, so it's coming up to fire. And you need to throw some plugs or a piston stop in some other holes to keep this thing from rotating over as you put air pressure into it. So we're all set up for number 1 here, and we're going to test it first. About 75 pounds, and we're at 62. So just doing some quick math, that is over 15% leak down in this cylinder. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down, move to the next cylinder, roll this over to top dead center, and we'll test that one out. So right now on this one, yeah, we're about 62 pounds. So about 15% leak down, which on an older engine like this is very normal. Just going to roll the regulator back down and disconnect the air. So we have number 3 on top dead center, and we're ready to test it. Both our rockers are loose and rocking. That's just another good way to tell if you're on top dead center or not. So right away, you can hear the air without even looking at the gauge. So that means this exhaust valve has some kind of issue. It's not seating properly, it's bent, it's junk. But yeah, from 75 pounds to just about 25-ish coming out, that means there's something wrong with this hole. That's why it had such a lower compression reading than some of the others. And that just lets us know that there's an issue right away. So I'm all set up to test number 5. I've got it at top dead center. And knowing what I know about number 3 now, this thing, I would definitely take it apart and not just go put it in a vehicle. I'd at least take the top end off it. But now it's just worth going through and checking the rest of them like we were going to do. This exhaust valve is also leaking like number 3. So, and these exhaust valves on a small block Chevy head compared to say like an LS are right next to each other. So there's a lot of heat in this area. So it could have been a heat issue. Something could be warped, cracked, but I'll sit down and do all the math and figure out the percent of leak down once we get all the readings. One of the ways I've been finding top dead center in general very quickly was with the Mr. Gasket. This is the compression whistle. Yeah, this is a great tool. I actually use it all the time. We'll put the link to this in the description. This is one of those must-haves for your toolbox. You simply just thread it in the spark plug hole and just seat it there. So you can already hear it's whistling. I'm probably on the compression stroke on that hole. But what we're going to watch for is the valves here. So that was actually the power stroke, but I want to show you guys. You saw the exhaust valve actuate. That means the intake valve is about to actuate. And you can hear it whistling. And that means we're just about top dead center. So make sure both your valves are rocking, they're not tight. So I've gone ahead and tested this side completely. This one was about 64 pounds, so around that 15% leak down mark, not like our 2 problem cylinders here. But instead of boring you guys and testing the other side completely on camera, I'm just going to knock it out and I'll share the results with you after. So I'm going to move all the spark plugs to this side and then knock it out. I'll let you guys know how it goes here in a minute. So I did some math and figured out all our percentages of leak downs, and we got some problems. The rule of thumb is ideally you want less than a 5% variance in leak down between all your cylinders. So that alone would tell you that you need to go inside this thing. Those are all leaking exhaust valves, so it's an issue on the exhaust valve side. Now, the way you find this number is to find the percent. So, we're working at 75% PSI, not 100. If you work at 100 PSI, the math would actually be a little bit easier. Anyhow, so knowing what we know now about the 305 is we need to investigate further and tear this thing all the way apart. But what we're going to be doing in part 3 is rolling this thing over, looking at some main and rod bearings, and then tearing the entire thing apart and looking at some other vital components of the engine to see what we can reuse, what we need to get, and what needs to go to the machine shop to be machined, checked, and ready to put another engine together. And we're going to be doing something really cool with this 305. So don't you guys worry. But until next time, I'm Justin with Summit Racing, and the golden question is, what are you rebuilding?